Hello, my name is Afena Muzu. Welcome to the Ghana Agenda. Today is 23rd December 2023, 2 days from Christmas. And today we are talking about the two political parties and their nominees for the 2024 election. Former President John Dramani Mahama and the current Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia. We are talking about the two because they've each put out or made statements with regards to their plans for when they become president. With regards to Mahama, he wants to introduce a 24-hour economy in Ghana, a 24-hour economy. In other words, as we've seen in other countries where stores are open 24 hours, for instance, if you go to New York, it's a constantly running economy, but essentially not only stores, but let's say hospitals and certain facilities, so that people can actually go to work 3 times. In other words, there is 3 shifts, right? The 9 to 5, and then 5 to, I believe, and then So he says he wants to bring about a 24-hour economy. We are going to look at that. We'll see what are some of the advantages of such a system. What challenges do we currently have in Ghana? And we will compare that with what the Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia had also put out there as what he would like to do when he becomes president, which is to put together a system in place where individuals are able to obtain credits. This will help businesses. This will help with capital. It would help in so many different ways. And so my question really is, why can't we have both, right? Why can we not have both? So if I'm lucky today, we'll be joined by our regular panelists. I'm still waiting for them to join me in the studio. But in the meantime, I'll be doing my own solo recitation of, what has been said by the various parties as we wait for the team to join. All right, so let me start with the 24-hour economy. In fact, if you're watching us, please like the video or share so that others who may be interested can also join and watch the show. We are on every week, as you know, on Saturday from 2 p.m., which is, I believe, 7 p.m. in Ghana. Again, my name is Afena Muzu. I'm your host. Today we are talking about Mr. Mahama's proposal for 24 hours economy versus Mr. Bawumia, Dr. Bawumia's line of credit proposal. Now, let me take first the issue of 24-hour economy. What exactly is this? Now, like I said earlier, what it means somehow is that if it was a hospital, for example, that the hospital will run 24 hours. What do you need to do these things? Now, we know one of the biggest challenges we have in Ghana is work. We do not have a lot of work. Our unemployment numbers have been horrendous over the years, and government over government have struggled with this. They've struggled to fix unemployment or create jobs, and it's difficult to do. My understanding is Ghana is currently hovering around 14-15%. That is official numbers. but the unofficial numbers really are more than, I would say, I would even go to the limb to say more than 60%, right? People are struggling. I know everyone is doing their own papapa to survive, but imagine that we are able to have companies work around the clock. The factories continue to produce around the clock. Now, what do we need to have this happen? For you to have such a program implemented, you're gonna need some things in place, some infrastructure in place. Roads, of course, accessible with lights, so people driving to work will not fall victim to attacks by criminals, especially if there are jobs and everybody's working. Maybe the fear of crime or somebody trying to take your stuff should be lessened, right? Because people are working. But you're gonna need a lot to have that happen. Security, of course, need to be enhanced. Again, from the infrastructure standpoint, you need a 24-hour constant electricity. In other words, if a factory is going to work 24 hours, they have to, and they need power. That power infrastructure have to be in place to support that. So we need a lot to go into this. So is it a laudable idea? I do think so. But it does appear that we would need a lot from infrastructure standpoint to actually have this 24 economy that the president is promising come into fruition. Now, how easy is it to pull off? How easy is it to pull off a 24-hour economy? I'm not saying we have 2 or 3 factories working around the clock and therefore we conclude that we have a 24-hour economy. I'm thinking of a situation where it's a coordinated sort of system where there are multiple organizations, because if factories are working 24 hours, then maybe hospitals need to work 24 hours as well, just in case anybody get injured on the job, that they can go to a hospital. So this thing needs to be thought about in an integrated manner. It can't be just a one-off. It can't be just one company is doing it or one government entity is doing it, and that's all. I mean, of course, certain companies will not be able to work 24 hours, right? The banks, we don't need the banks to work 24 hours. Why? We are a mobile money economy now, right? So everybody's able to continue to do banking, whether the physical brick and mortar is open or not, right? We are able to transact financially with each other through other means. So that may not be necessary. That infrastructure is already in place. It even actually helps make the case. So for instance, if it is food you're trying to buy, imagine that you are in a community where the banks are closed and then you don't have an access to any close by ATM, but you want to go buy food and the food seller is open 24/7. You wouldn't be able to get the money to go do that. But now that we have mobile money and everyone is being able to accept payments or make payments using mobile money, it also actually adds to the narrative that some of that infrastructure that we need, some are available, but we still need more. We still need some sort of a coordinated plan. Could be some tax breaks for the companies that would do, those around the clock, because sometimes just keeping a light on and having people stay at work sometimes may not be productive, right? Especially if your work is one that requires patronage of a lot of people, and if people are sleeping, you wouldn't get the patronage you like, so you would want to open in the afternoon. So consideration has to be given to all these things. It doesn't mean every job, every single occupation sort of is likely to transition into this 24-hour economy model that President Mahama is talking about. However, there will be some that are very suitable, like I said, hospitals. Some I believe are already doing 24-hour services. I don't think Kolibu ever shuts down. There are so many other hospitals that I know are running around the clock. Now, what about the police stations? Are we able to have police stations open 24 hours? I believe if you go to Accra, you might see some of that. So I'm hearing arguments. I'm hearing arguments from the opposition, especially the MPP, saying that, some of these things are already going on. Even I heard, the current Vice President Baumia says, the chow bars are open, but I believe what Mahama is talking about goes beyond chow bars. It has to be a coordinated, integrated approach to a system of running our economy 24/7. Now, when that happens, like I said, it will create jobs, definitely. And who knows what else will happen. So that is that on. I believe I'm joined by Paul. Paul, can you hear me? Are you there? All right, I'll keep going and then wait for Paul to respond. Uh, all right. So yeah, so as I'm saying, um, yeah, so those questions we need to really interrogate, right? I guess the question really, or what people are saying, or what I'm hearing people say is, what is the blueprint? What is it going to be like? What is it looking like? What is that 24-hour economy looking like on paper? We want something in our hands to read. So hopefully the former president will come up with some proposals around, industries that are likely to actually embark on this 24-hour model. Should he incentivize them? And if he's going to incentivize them, what are the incentives? What are his plans towards putting those infrastructure issues that I've discussed? There has to be some motorable road to some places so people can get. There has to be street lights, illuminating path so that people, can feel comfortable driving, knowing that, I'm sleeping, but my wife is going to work in the middle of the night and that's she'll be safe. So, we need to take into consideration all these things as we contemplate the idea, which is a very laudable idea, of a 24-hour economy. Welcome to the show, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Alfred. Good afternoon, and thanks for having me on this show this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Once
Thank you.
again, we are here for the country and for party. That's what I'll say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always appreciate it. It's not easy making the time week after week to come here and educate us on, your party's position with regards to some of the policy proposals that we currently have come to know. One of which we are talking about today, the 24-hour economy proposal, or economic model proposed by the former president, John Dramani Mahama. I have just kind of done a little bit of a tour around what I have expectations of when I hear 24-hour economy. I also want to quickly touch on the credit aspects, right? Line of credit, to say that, well, Dr. Bawumia is proposing line of credits for individuals. So what does that mean? What it means from my standpoint is that as an individual, you go to the bank trying to get a loan, could be for anything, could be for school fees, could be for anything, right? You say whatever, business, that a bank is able to look at your ability to pay, that you probably have been giving loans in the past and that you were diligent in paying them. How did they get that information? That information perhaps should somehow be tied to some unique identification, and that unique identification, Bawumia has put a claim on that. He's brought that about, the Ghana card that is operational. Everything you do these days is actually grounded on the Ghana card, that you are able to travel out of the country with Ghana card, that with that Ghana card, that each individual Ghanaian can be uniquely identified, which means when you take a loan and you don't pay, it somehow attaches to your name, so that when you go for subsequent loan, a bank is able to pull that. But we need a lot of systems to come into place for this to happen. We need some sort of database of names in this country where we are residing. In the United States, we have 3 different credit bureaus that would do this. I believe there are some credit bureaus in Ghana currently. Now, as to the extent to which they have accumulated information with regards to all the unique identifiers, to know who's who, and to actually also work with the banks to see who has taken credit and what their payment history is. Are the banks feeding information to them? Are they consolidating these information in a meaningful way that even the citizens can access to know what their status is with regards to their credit rating, etc.? Because without that, the whole idea of credit would be very challenging to accomplish very quickly. Now, I believe there's some of that because there is a collateral system. I don't know if what the specific name is, either consolidated collateral system, assets collateral system, where you do a collateral registry. Is my understanding. So that whenever you go for a loan and you use, say for instance, a land or a building or whatever as a collateral that is registered, you couldn't use the same property to get another loan. That has been going on since 2012 timeframe to now that I'm aware of. So what Brownier is proposing will probably be a build up on what has already been going on. So my real question is, why can't we have both? Why are we treating these as though they are mutually exclusive? Because again, these two things are going to be key for our economic development. Let me come to you, sir.
Thank you
Um,
very much, Mr. Muzu. And for me, I would like to, say once again that we thank God for another year which is coming to an end. It has been very challenging for the most of our communities back home in Ghana. The economic mess, the mismanagement, the insecurity, the lies that has been told to Ghanaian has been so I mean unacceptable to a level that these people are trying to throw dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana again. Let me start with the 24-hour economy as against line of credit. I'll deal with the 24-hour economy. You see, due to untruthfulness, due to lack of knowledge, due to
okay.
hard-headedness, that is why the folks or the people who are speaking against the 24-hour economy are doing that deliberately. And I can tell you for a fact that they are doing that deliberately because they know and they understand that with this 24-hour policy, if Ghana and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama comes into power and he starts implementing this 24-hour economy, it is the birth of getting our economy into stabilized position. Why am I saying so?
Right.
Mr. Muzo, the understanding of our friends, and it's unfortunate that my good friend Ifa is not here, of a
Yeah.
24-hour economy
Mhm.
is mind-boggling. What is an economy? What is 24-hour economy? For them to understand this, it's simple. What we are all saying is that in most part of Africa, specifically Ghana, West Africa, we are known to run our economy from the morning of 8 to 5 p.m. That's the normal business hours by which most of the economies are run. When you go to the port, for example, okay, the port runs from 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. After 5:01 p.m., that worker at the port will tell you that he's closed for the day. What are we saying? As a policy, we have the Ghana police. 1 minute, please.
Yeah, so I believe what Paul was reiterating or restating there, it's a list of um, occupations that, or jobs that close at 8 o'clock. They start at 8 in the morning and close at
Sorry,
8.
Mr.
So
Muzo. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
absolutely pick up from when
So,
you left.
so,
Yeah,
so
you
as we speak, Ghana, we have some of the organizations, institutions that run 24-hour economy.
right,
What it means simple is that a productivity that is run continuously without a break. That's all the 24-hour economy means.
right.
So it is very sad for my brother Ifa and his people to be making mockery out of this brilliant policy. If you go to the national agenda document that was developed some years back,
Mhm,
it is stated in there that for Ghana to be able to strive, for Ghana to be able to progress,
mhm.
for us to be able to, be self-independent, for us to be able to be a country that will not depend upon the upon the Eastern world, we need to start looking at running our economy continuously. I've stated over here the Ghana Police Service, the Health Service, and other institutions already are running the 24/7 economy. When you take the ports, the industries, for example, when you take the factories, most of the factories, some of them run from 8 to 5, some of them run
Mhm.
from 8 in the morning, maybe to midnight, 10 p.m. All
Right.
what we are saying is that those factories, the probability of us extending the time to be a continuous productivity is what we are trying to do. And the way we do it is simple: putting infrastructures in place.
Right.
What are some of the infrastructures? To be able to run a 24-hour economy, one of
Mhm.
the things that you need to look at is infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. When we
Okay.
talk about infrastructure, we have tangible and intangible, component of infrastructure. Let's
Mhm.
take the production industry, for example.
Mhm.
The tangible infrastructures are: we need to ensure that there is constant supply of power 24/7. Number two, we need to ensure that we have, physical security available, who will be mounting our streets, protecting our streets, to make sure that these people who are working do not fall prey to the armed robbers.
Okay.
Number three, we are talking about water. Ghana Water makes sure that there's supply of water constantly, so that these people who are doing their work can do their work. These are the tangible physical infrastructures that we need to look at and improve upon. You could remember, or as we speak, some radio stations are even working 24/7. But the question is on low productivity. So they put those not the best in the night, because in Ghana, from 10 p.m. to the following morning 5 p.m., most people are sleeping.
Yeah, but I think
And
that's the same in the United States too, right? Because when you look at
exactly, exactly.
the
When you
TV
tell that's
and
the
the
same in the
radio
United States, that's what I'm coming to. When
after
you look at
prime time, yeah.
exactly when you come to the United States, whereby this and people are making mockery of this policy, I don't know what it is. I remember my brother, if I was asking me, do we have a factory in his village? That's not what it means. What it means is that if we are talking about 24-hour economy in our brother affairs village, whereby cashew nut is their main product, all
Yeah.
we are saying is that we can provide support services, infrastructure such as tractor, machineries that can help, okay, constantly to work in the farms. It does not mean that in the night, from after 6 p.m. to the full morning, they should work in the farms. What it means that around that time, the product, okay, can be, or the produce that are gotten from the farm should be processed in the factory. So, for example, in the cashew nut area where Brother Ifa comes from,
All right. I think
some of the workers
Paul is
are doing
frozen
their
a
work.
little bit over there.
Is it okay?
Yeah, you were frozen a little earlier, but go ahead.
Okay. So when you take the cashew nut production, for example, I know
Mm-hmm.
my good brother Ifa has a lot of acre of cashew nut farm. Okay. When we build a manufacturing cashew nut production factory in and around the vicinity, during the day, during the night, that cashew nut manufacturing production can be processing those cashew nuts. Mr. Mus, you and I know for a fact
Right.
that what is killing our economy is the lack of raw materials, that of finished product that we send to the foreign countries for them to process it to finished product and then sell it back to us. Let's
Right.
take cocoa, for example. We used to be number one manufacturer of cocoa, but now we have come to number two in the world. When we produce the cocoa beans is sent to other countries, to the Western world. That product is unfinished product. They
Right.
send it to the Western world for them to process it to make
Mm-hmm.
to make it a finished product. Then they
Mm-hmm.
return that same product and sell it to us on a higher price. The way we can cure this difficulty
Mm-hmm.
is we are targeting some key sectors of the economy. And agro business is one of them. The agriculture sector is one of them. The sector is one of them. The manufacturing sector is one of them. The construction sector is one of them. We are saying that we are going to put down, enticement policies, okay? Enticement, put some enticement, opportunities in
You
place
mean
for
some
organizations,
incentive for people to?
incentives here for these people to encourage them to do continuous productivity. When you go to Ghana, in my country, in our country here, in United States of America, as I told you, most of the construction jobs are done in the night. They work during the day and in the night. But in Ghana, during the day, the construction industry, those people building a road, after 5 p.m., they've closed. Why? Because they don't have the manpower or the human resources or the technical know-how to have people that will be working in the night. When we start giving these incentives, Mr. Amuzu, who owns a construction firm, will be giving incentive, tax breaks, okay? And it will entice you to employ.
Yeah, I think
Get
we
a tax break.
expressed the. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Go ahead.
if you're going
You
to work in
wanna?
the night, yeah, if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
work night, we are going to give you some tax break. Mr. Musu will be ready to employ 2 extra more tractor drivers who will be doing those work in the night. So for me,
Paul, Paul. Okay, so I can see where like government projects again, government itself doesn't do the road constructions. Government award the contracts for others to do these constructions. But don't you think that any businessman, right, who is of course motivated into business because of profits, right, would
mhm,
want to maximize their profit, and that we don't need government to tell anybody to actually open 24/7. If they really have a market for 24/7, if they really have a market for their products, that they would hire as many people to ensure that their factories are running 24/7. That you wouldn't need Muhammad to come and tell them. What do you say to that
no,
argument?
Mr. Musu, I disagree with you because as a government, you need to put down policies and infrastructures in place to allow this thing to ride on. The
Okay.
example you just gave, that businessman who's a road contractor
Mhm.
will not be able or is not responsible to put those infrastructures in place.
Yeah,
The
but
government
infrastructure.
award, the government awards the contract to the private individual. The private individual need to go to the site and do the constructions. He need what? The materials that they will need to do the work in the night. They might, or wherever they get it from, they work from 8 to 5. But if the government is saying that, okay, the company or the factory that is producing that bitumen, okay, if you are using X amount of electricity during the day, in the night, because the productivity has gone low, a lot of people are not working. If you are paying $2 per kilowatt, in the night, the system can be designed in such a way that you'll be paying maybe 1.5 per kilowatt of the power used. Don't you think if these incentives are put in place, most business people will not be ready to implement this 24/7?
Right.
In the United States of America, it is not every economy, it's not every part of the sector that operates 24/7.
Uh-huh.
Some of the sectors does, some do not.
Right.
When you take example, New York, when you go to New York, Manhattan in the night, you will see motor riders, dispatch motor riders working. Pizza shops are working. Some stores are open constantly.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
Why?
uh-huh.
Because that environment has been designed in such a way that they have a certain demand and need.
Okay. So yeah, the demand and need definitely is gonna be the driver
Yes,
here because if there's no demand, then it's gonna be
exactly.
tough. So
Exactly,
yes.
exactly, exactly. So for a fact to be telling me that, How can we operate 24/7 in this village? It is neither here nor there. When you take a place
Well,
like when you take a
mhm,
place like Osu, a place like Accra, a place like Kumasi, a place like
mhm,
Takrade, a place like Temale. Look, I have been to all those places, and
mhm.
during the night you see activities going
Right.
on. So all we have to do is that we have to encourage them. We have to be able to create incentives. We have to be able to create the platform. We have to be able to provide the fast infrastructure for to encourage these people to continue doing this business, to employ more hands. Employing more hands, we are able to reduce the unemployment. I mean, which is a security threat to the country Ghana.
Okay.
Apart,
Mhm. Okay. I think you are frozen one more time. Now let me quickly say that how easy would this approach or goal proposition policy, how easy is it to measure? So far we know that some organizations are running 24-hour services,
exactly.
um, and there are more other organizations who can actually do that, but they are not. Perhaps maybe it's a business decision. There's no demand for their product. So perhaps are we saying we are going to find market for their product? We are going to help them export to other places. So what exactly have you come across that gives you hope that such a policy is likely to be achieved? And if so, how do we measure it? Um, and we'll go into the line of credit, but supposed that we say we are trying to implement the line of credit for individuals, it's easily measurable. You can see when people are going to the bank and getting credit that, oh, okay, it's X amount of number of people have been able to obtain credit using their bank cards, and that there are systems in place to kind of provide their history, collateral, registers, etc., etc. Which is almost like we are almost there for that. They are so this the infrastructure is almost in place for that to actually take off. We just need some considered policy effort. So we'll talk about that next. However, how do we measure this 24-hour economic thing, especially with you know it's being so dependent on a business owner's personal decision, right? Because you can tell a business to go into that. If they don't, you don't get 24 hours.
Samuzo, I've stated again and I'm going to go again. It's
Yeah.
the government providing infrastructure. Now, I'll go to my area where
Mhm.
I'm very competent and expert in.
Okay.
Let's take the communication sector in Ghana, for example.
Yeah.
In the early 90s,
Hmm.
okay, there was nothing like mobile telephony.
Yeah.
In the before the early 90s, in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, if you want to
Hmm.
talk to somebody, okay, you have to go to the post office and go and queue and wait for your turn to come.
Isn't it in the 90s that they brought those
That
boots
is what I'm
all over?
coming to. That's what I'm
Yeah.
coming to. You have to go to the post office to go and queue. But in the
Hmm.
early 90s, the then government saw the need that
Rolling.
we need to improve
Hmm.
upon the infrastructure of the telecommunication sector. So they
Hmm.
started expanding. It is not one day thing that you just expand and then get there. They
Correct.
started expanding. That is why you are talking about the stand booth that they started mounting in areas.
Right.
In those time, to have a landline phone in your house, which means you are very
It's a
rich,
it's a luxury.
is a luxury. But in the early 90s, because they started expanding, they started opening the sector whereby people started getting landline in their home.
Hmm.
As we move from there, the next evolving was to open up, okay, mobile telephony, which came into the scene.
Mobitel. Mobitel.
Mobitel, you remember, where
Digital
that big
bank.
phone you hold and all those stuff. And then they started expanding it. But
Right.
whilst we're doing that, we started expanding the main physical infrastructure that's building our backbone, telecommunication backbone network, whereby
Hmm.
we started building fiber optic connectivities from all points around the country into a
Hmm.
center. Don't
Hmm.
forget, the intangible physical asset I talked about was the data center that is in Accra, Ghana, Circle. Even though
Mhm.
you can see the physical building, the intangible physical part of it is the infrastructure that's been put over there, because that is holding a lot of, or processing a lot of data, process a lot of communication infrastructure, goes through those routes. As we
Mhm.
speak today, you don't need to go to the post office. Telephoning, mobile telephone, landline is not a luxury.
All right. You don't need to go to the post office. You can
Exactly.
easily do transactions.
Exactly,
Mhm.
sitting in your home because of the data infrastructure that has been built. Okay,
Right.
there is more room for improvement. Even though we have a data infrastructure over sitting there, as we are going to run a 24 by 24/7 economy, we need to
Mhm.
expand and make sure that we have a backup data center, so that if this data center fails, we roll over to the backup. These are things that, as a government, the infrastructure you need to put in place. So when we build, you know that there is something called elasticity demand. The more there's demand, the more hot the thing become expensive. But if the
Right.
demand is low, you see that the prices come down. Look,
Yeah. But Paul, before you go into the rabbit hole on that, you know what you're describing with telephony infrastructure or telecommunications, right? It's inherently governmental. This is social services that, or services that the people need and only government can provide at that time until we started doing the privatization. But the current proposal has a component of it that depends on business owners. It has to be a business judgments that would be exercised by individuals who have nothing to do with government, although government to incentivize them. So I want to hear you talk to me about what really would government do from incentive standpoint that would make a
that is
business
where I'm
owner
coming to. That's where I'm
change his
coming to.
mind.
You interjected.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Okay.
coming to. So look at,
Okay.
still with the telecommunication infrastructure, looking at the data center that has been built. Now, when you
Mhm.
take a company like private company like Joy FM,
Right.
City News, called mention them, private
Yeah, they could
business.
have done 24-hour broadcasting before we had the fiber optics and
Exactly. And they are doing it. Exactly.
yeah,
Gone are the days whereby when you go to Joy FM by 12, they are closed. And when you go to GBC by 10 p.m., they are closed. Now, they've built infrastructure whereby there's robust telecommunication backbone that is there that they depend upon. So they
right.
don't need to worry their head. It is not a government place to tell that business owner that I have provided you the platform, use it to expand your business. That is why
Mhm,
now, as we speak, Joy FM is running 24/7.
mhm,
Even when you take the police department, for example, gone
mhm.
are the day, the earlier on, you go to their radio rooms, they are there. But
Let
for
me
now,
ask.
for, yes,
Let me ask. Would you agree that access to credit perhaps is going to be one of those the components of a 24, the components of the necessary infrastructure incentives or programs that we need to have in place in order to actually see a 24-hour economy flourish? Why am I saying so? Say you have a government contract and you need to work around the clock in order to not delay and accomplish the contract on time. Um, and you know how government pays. Government doesn't pay until maybe after sometimes you finish. And so without access to readily available credit, it's kind of hard for you to go and employ a third batch of people to work night shifts, etc.
Mr. Amuzo,
So
I will not let
yeah,
even continue. I will not let even
just
continue.
the
It's
wisdom,
already
the wisdom
happening.
out there.
It's already happening. The credit line, because of the robustic infrastructure that we have in place, you don't need to
Mhm,
go to the bank. Even in Ghana, you don't need to
mhm,
go to the bank. You can just go on the hop on your internet, apply for credit. But the banking officer who is supposed to do this is not
mhm.
working at the time that you are applying for it. He is sleeping in
Right.
his house. So when the government put those infrastructures in place, the bank of, let's say, Bank of Mr. Musu will say, hey, now people are working the night. So let's give, or let's keep maybe three, four staffs 24-hour sitting behind the computer, looking at our credit consuming department, being behind the computer, and then making sure that any application that comes in, they look it, vet it. If the person qualify, you process it, and it goes through. This is what we are saying. And all these things are going to depend upon infrastructure provided by the government for the private business to strive on it, to be able to, provide support continuously in the whole day 24 by 7. To say that, I'm also trying to tell you that this
Mhm.
24 by 7 economy, it is something that is happening in Ghana. And why haven't they complained about it?
Right.
Because they know and they understand that if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama comes into
Mhm.
power and he tries to implement this policy, it's going to
Mhm.
be a very great opportunity for Ghanaians, and Ghanaians will get jobs to do, and Ghanaians will be ready and well off than the predicament that Nanado Baumia has putting them into. You know,
Okay.
those people, MPP, they are full of sloganism.
All right.
They wish they were the one who have thought fast to bring this sloganism out. Because they didn't get it, they'll do everything to defame it, everything to make it look bad. And
Mhm.
it is very, so very disappointing that the person that the president told us, God has given him the whole world. Nyansa, if you see Nyansa Nyina team, who calls himself a so-called economist, who has anyway run away from the economic discussion, now talking about digitalization, is saying that and making a comment that it's a bad idea. It is a
Mhm.
shame. It is so unacceptable. Look, we are doing politics, but we
Mhm.
don't have to allow politics to cloud over your academic knowledge you've acquired from school. So for me, this 24-hour economy is something that is
All right. So I think you are frozen one more
15,
time.
who has
Yeah.
my good brother, if I who has almost 20-15 acres of cashew nut farming, okay, he can
Mhm.
employ people, and with the support from the government, he can put
Mhm.
up some factory, a little factory or small factory in his village, and be processing this cashew nut and make sure that we finish, or that cashew nut become a finished product before we export it out of the country. And so thereby doing, we keep a lot of foreign exchange in our country. So for
Oh.
me, there is
Mhm.
nothing that my brother Ifa will say, there's
Mm.
nothing that the so-called MPP propagandist will say that will change the mind of the good people of Ghana. The
Okay.
idea is the best idea. It's a very good idea. Rome was not built a day.
Right.
Likewise, in the United States of America, in the state of Chicago, my brother Ifa knows very well that it is not all sectors that are practicing the 24/7 economy. Some sectors close during the normal working hours, some work late in the night, and he knows it.
Okay.
So
Paul,
for
I
them
think
to
you
be
made your
playing
point.
mischief, for them to be playing propaganda, for them to be throwing construction stones into the eyes of the good people of Ghana, this is unacceptable. And I'll
Right.
urge my good friend, Brother Ifa, this evening to put politics aside, just as I have done. I've not tried to play politics. I'm trying to look at the thing in a holistic manner, in the benefit of the good people of Ghana. I urge him to do same. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome to the show, Afa. I don't know if you were listening to us earlier and if you've heard everything that's have been discussed so far. If not, we just summarize quickly. But going forward, I'm going to hold you to time. So if I want to bring you on to do your take on this, I'll give you 5 minutes, okay? So that we can transition to the other topic as well, so and give them both the amount of time they both deserve for today's show. So, Afa, um, we've been talking about the 24-hour economy. Of course, Paul has recanted all the NDC. Okay, we're getting somebody said that is true. Okay, so we have comments coming in. But yeah, so your colleague went through and told us all the things the government plans to do in terms of incentivizing economic business owners to extend their services beyond just the perhaps 8 or 10 hours that they currently operate, so that we can give our people employment. It's very crucial. It's becoming a national security issue, and we all agree that something needed to be done. Government came and went, and it seems to be the one issue that's no single one of our presidents have so far gotten their hands around. So it's a breath of fresh air to have a candidate propose a way for us to get out of this problem. He's done it before with electricity. He said he can do it with employment. What do you think?
Thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to Paul. Uh, I think Paul was praying that I wouldn't be here so he can rattle and get away with whatever he was saying. But he la lie. I got caught
We
up in something.
are
So
happy to
yeah.
have you.
So yeah, 24-hour economy. Um, the NDC is speaking as if employment is just something all of a sudden surfaced out here. So they're coming out with this catchphrase of 24-hour economy. Um,
I think we lost a fast picture briefly. So while we are waiting for him to join, okay, Eva, we lost you briefly, but pick up from where you left. We cannot hear your sound at this moment. All
can
right,
you hear
so
me?
yeah, we
Can you
can hear
hear
you
me
now.
now? Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
somebody there was a call that came. So if you look at economies that are termed 24 hours economy, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
not like it is first not a third world country somewhere that all of a sudden say, I am gonna with a word of a mouth, I'll do this and it becomes business. It is
Mm-hmm.
it is a systematic practice of trying to start from the beginning doing the normal thing and then the businesses themselves based on demand and supply and stuff like that determining that, oh, okay, so based on the demand and what is expected of me, that this, I decide if I'm closing, if I say 8 hours, I'll
It
make it
makes
12
business
hours.
sense. It makes business sense for me to actually open beyond.
Exactly like that.
Mhm,
So instead of saying you just come and translate the economy into a 24-hour thing, um, what it should be is that the existing companies that are facing challenges, that you
mhm,
come and give them some little stuff. People are there, they are not even getting small incentives to even do 8 hours and stuff like that. So,
mhm,
you take up all those ones and then gradually we get there, so that, for instance, I am yet to see a government agency like the passport office running 24 hours.
mhm.
It is it's not it doesn't make any economic sense. You get what I mean? Because the
Right.
population is this number and passport is, a product that is given. It is not like an everyday need thing. You know, we do you see we
Yeah,
have
I
the
mean,
line we,
so
we
we
have
know
the
that it's.
lines over there. We have the lines over there and at the National Identification Authority because of lack of materials to give to the people. It is not something that, okay, oh, I want people to be there 24 hours, so I do it and stuff like that. No, it doesn't. I don't think that is how it operates,
Yeah, so
or
I
to
think
be for the sake of it, you know.
yeah, I think we discussed earlier that it's not every business that is amenable to this 24-hour model, right?
Yeah,
So there are some businesses definitely that can benefit from a 24-hour operations. Um, we're talking things like, for instance, the hospitals are doing it, right? The emergency services,
exactly.
they are working 24/7.
Right,
Some police stations, some key police stations are open, right? They don't close. And those that are governmental entities, government can by a pen says all police stations stay open 24/7. That can happen. But what that would do is it increase security so that when your wife decides that she's going to work in the middle of the night, you are comfortable that there's patrol on the road constantly. Therefore, she's able to go from home to work and be back safely.
right, right.
There are other services like the manufacturing, even some agriculture. farms that can use 24/7 with irrigation support and all that. So I guess we do need a 24-hour economy. Let's not make any mistake about that, right? Now we are just saying what are the incentives that perhaps might be necessary here. And so Paul had gone through some. Um, what I want to understand from you is, are you disagreeing with the fact that we need 24-hour economy or we don't? And if so, I think what I'm hearing from you is
What?
it has to be gradual. It has to be gradual, right?
So yes. So what I'm saying is that just as is happening in Ghana and in every world and all
Mhm.
over the world, there are some places that are running 24 hours in every
Yes.
country, right? They have
Yes.
systems that are running. Now, we are talking about volumes here, right? So for instance, so when you go to New York, there are more businesses running 24 hours than say in Accra. You get what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you come and you're going to incentivize them to run 24 hours, it's fine. It's perfectly okay. But we,
Mhm.
we shouldn't pretend as if it is a catchphrase where that is coming, and that once NDC get into power, then all of a sudden we are going to see a lot of manufacturing running 24 hours. And no, it just doesn't work like that. Say, for instance, you want to establish a factory in the Bunu East to process cashew and stuff like that. When you put up the factory, right, it would depend on the number of raw materials that are coming, the product that have been made, the demand that would determine whether this thing operates 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, or that. So if they are not getting the raw materials, if they do it and the demand is not as expected, you cannot say, I'll produce this, it is not gone, let me keep producing. You producing for what? For who? Or you say you have a watch seller in Jima, where I come from, okay, in the Kintampo South district, where one day I hope to become an MP. You go there and the watch seller is selling,
He's cranking
and
out
you want
watching
to
and
and
buying.
you want to say, if 12 o'clock nobody is coming to buy wachi, or 5 o'clock nobody is coming to buy wachi, they switch to something else. You want to say stay there and operate 24 hours. So we want to understand some of these little technical stuff. But if it is
Mhm.
the case that the demand is there, and that if the person has got the incentives, I mean, what you provided, you can provide security and you can provide this, it is perfectly fine. I We see, when I look at it from my perspective, I think it is being used more political than economic. If I may be permitted to, you see, it is more of a sloganeering thing to catch up for the election than something that can actualize. So I don't believe in the case that, oh, NDC gets into power and all, or major most, and that employment is like here, everybody is hiring. Not even within the next 8 years can we do this. No, we need time to gradually shift to that. So give
So,
us that gradualism, and we all are going to come in, because
so you,
where is the money to do all these stuff? And imagine, when you talk about the economy, you are not just talking about businesses and stuff like that. Too. You are talking about the whole everything
You
in
see,
there.
Mr.
You are
Amuzo,
talking about passport. You are talking
so,
about this.
so
You're talking about all
I
that.
get that.
Mr. Amuzo, this is where you see, this is where I tell you that they are deliberately, throwing construction stones into the eyes of
Now
the
we're
good people.
punching holes so that you can shift it
The
No,
reason
properly. You
no,
why,
can
so
situate it.
the reason
I.
why, no, Mr. Amuzo, let me make this statement. The reason why I'm saying this is that
Mhm.
my brother Ifa is somebody I respect very much. He's a very
Right.
experienced politician. It's not everything
Mhm.
that he comment about. This
Okay.
24/7 economy, when you go to the national development agenda, that was
Mhm.
developed some years ago, over 10, 15 years ago, that we were supposed to use. It is in there. When you look at the NDC manifesto for 2020, we stated it in there.
Mhm.
Do you know why it has become an issue? Because, as he stated it, sloganism. The NPP is known to be champions of sloganism, whereby they will capitalize on something and then throw it and use it as a capital gain.
Mhm.
Unfortunately for them, this time around, they've noticed that this 24-hour economy, policy that Mr. Mahama has stated is going to be a good organism component towards the 2024 election. So they will do everything possible within their power to
Mm-hmm.
paint it black. Now,
Right.
brother Ifa, when he was talking, spoke about something about raw materials.
Guys, we
Ifa,
gotta move on from this topic.
yeah, let me just finish. Ifa knows very well that when he goes to the Bono region, where he comes
Mm-hmm.
from, where he has over 20 acres of farmland producing cashew nuts, he
Mm-hmm.
knows the raw materials is in high demand over there.
Yes.
He knows it.
Yes.
Such an environment, the government or the policy we are trying to introduce is that, yes, we know Brother Ifa have 20 acres of farmland. Other
Mm-hmm.
members of the family and friends all around have those cashew nut farm lands, and they are producing constantly. So what are we supposed to do? Let's look at the best way that we can help Brother Ifa and the people in his village to turn this raw material into a finished product. And by doing so, we put up a factory whereby the
Mm-hmm.
factory will be running so that when they get a product from the farm, they bring to the factory will be processing continuously overnight to get this product to finished product before we export.
Okay.
Brother Ifad knows the truth, but
Right, right.
because of the political colorization and sloganism, they will try to throw construction stones into the eyes of the good people of Ghana to let them
Okay.
think the policy is a bad one. And I
Okay.
want Brother Ifad
No,
Let's
no,
move
to
no.
from
speak
there.
over here.
No,
Yeah,
it's
let's
not.
let's
It's
let's
not
move on
about.
to that. Now,
Quick one.
before you come in, Rafa, let me
Yeah.
ask.
Okay.
Rafa, so we do have the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which we are hosting the
Yes.
headquarters, right?
Yes. Yes.
It is important that we take some considered efforts to kind of flourish that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
believe some of the things that we are hearing about the proposal where the government will specifically do things to incentivize others to manufacture,
Yeah.
it's laudable. Whether it's finding markets for them within that African free trade framework for their products, or whether it's sourcing resources for them, or whatever ways the government is going to execute this,
Mm.
I think should be something we encourage. Whether they are doing it well or not should be a debate we can have to say
Yeah.
maybe NDC didn't do it well, but the same policy is good. Let MPP try its hands on it and see if they can do it better than NDC. But I hear you sounding pessimistic. I hear him sounding very optimistic. I know the two of you would end on that line anyway, so I don't want us to push it more than we've already done. But I believe this is something we should have been doing long ago, right? And
Yes.
we have. It's not like we haven't. We have, to the extent that we actually fought for even the African continental free trade. You know, agree headquarters to be hosted in Ghana. It's a sign of our intent, right? It's a sign of our intent to actually position ourselves as the hub for economic growth for the entire Africa. So this is a good idea. I think we can both agree on that. However, maybe you can criticize them for not being the best executors of ideas, right? Let's move on. If
So
you
quick
agree
one.
to
Quick.
critics.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree with what you see. I don't think my party or any member of my party is saying that if it is possible for any aspect of the economy to run 24 hours, don't do it. That's not what we're saying. We are saying that you see, they are not using it properly. Now, for instance, if I give a
What do you
typical
think?
example, if I give a typical example, how can a whole president think of putting up a factory before thinking of raw materials? I mean, you can
Yeah.
criticize us. You can criticize us and say, why haven't we done it? And I perfectly agree with that. Now, when we also look at most of our import and export of commodities, right? We import things that we should have a policy in place for us to have it at home. Intestines, rice,
You might be,
onions.
you might be.
These are stuff. So you first now I was gonna shift the family. My family was gonna shift from cashew, and we're gonna add coconut, right? So when I
One
went into the
more minute
when
on
I went
this.
into the Ghana Export Promotion Council, I had a friend there who said that they were doing some coconut promotion and all that. The coconut that we produce in the country, we consume everything. And then the policy for us to go into the export they are not doing it properly, even up to today. So you see, you have to do the basics before you talk about. You have not given a birth to a child. You are talking about school. So that is where the this thing. But if we can make the economy run 24/7, yes. But you see, the gradualism or the things to do to get there, they talk to generalization. Like put incentives for people to run this. And if I give you the how are you going to do it at Bali Bomboy, then it becomes a. But I perfectly understand where they're coming from, and it's perfectly fine. We can always agree to disagree. For me, it's more sloganeering than just a practical something that we can take care of. Yeah, let's go.
All right, so let's take a quick look at this comments that we have. He has a lot of big words. Crupper, that is Carlos Victor, a good friend of mine, is watching us. He says, before I go on, let me postulate from the. All right. So you ready, right? So before I go, let me quote from the Frankfurtian dictum, which stipulates that the dialectics of reconciling two conflicting ideas is algebra and resolution. All right, guys, you ready? He made a couple of them. He said the overbearing intervention of the state has further exacerbated opprobrium meaning disgrace, right? And amounting to sadomasochism, acrimony, and chaos in our community. Hey, Toby.
He wants
A macrocosm of the issues in the Niger Delta. Today's we are people of state. Okay, all right. So it's a lot of big English that we don't understand. So break it down for us, please. Anyway, so guys, that is a great conversation we've just had. I think it's good we were all on the same page with regards to the fact that we need to do something about this economy. The unemployment issue needs to be dealt with. Otherwise,
yes.
Today South Sudan is having some issues. We don't want to be the next on the news. It's possible, right? But the way to deal with that is to give our people work. Ghana is a fun place, right? Everybody's going to Ghana in December. Why? It's a fun place. All right. Let's look at credit, which I also, for some reason, believe is one of the things we need to do in order to actually get this 24-hour economy going on. I was citing an example to Paul when he was making a statement that when government gives you contract, they don't pay you immediately, right? And you need money to actually go and execute the contract. Now, with access to credit like Baumia is proposing based on unique identifying the credit history of the applicants, it's a good idea. It's gonna help. So why can't we have both? Has been the initial questions. Let me start with you, Paul. Let's actually go to a fast.
No. Let me do. You see,
I want to tell us about the Baumia proposal itself, so that you can deal with that. So, Baumia says, of course, now that we have Ghana card, there is progress in terms of having a unique identifier for all Ghanaians, and based on that, I think we can then now leverage the credit, the asset registry system that we were using, the collateral registry system that we were using in the past for people who would go to banks and get credits using their collateral, so that we don't see the same collateral getting multiple credits. We can now use that and other infrastructures that we have around, like data collections, to be able to share information between the bank and credit bureaus to establish sort of a history, a profile of each individual in Ghana, so that you can see your credit score the same way we do in the United States here. Are we there already, or do we have? I think this is a good idea from my standpoint, but as we were saying about this whole 24-hour economy, do you think we are quite there yet in Ghana? Because I don't know how much the Ghana card has penetrated the system so far. Of course, if anyone is doing business and need money, I'm sure they have Ghana card. But are we quite there yet? Have we started issuing this Ghana card at BEF? Where is the extent of penetration that the Ghana card has, or the success that we've chalked in that area? And I know we don't need to be 100% Ghana card as given to everybody in order to actually take on the next step. But where are we so far, and help me understand this proposal.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have the benefit of being here, so it's easy. It's basically going to be based on what we are used to in the West or in the advanced countries. Now, when we come here, basically what it means is that you get your social security, you go through the banking system, you do stuff, you are able to start with little buy and pay later stuff. And based on that, you are able to build what they call credit. Okay, so you took this phone on credit, or you are paying something on postpaid, which means you use before you pay. So what is your credit history? Now you've rented a place. How do you pay your rent and stuff? Are you on time? Do you are you late paying? All these things is collected somewhere because your leasing agency or your landlord will put it in something that goes into what they call your record, which is when somebody want to assess will get. So all these things, do you break your lease? When you visited the hospital, have you paid your bills? So basically it is financial responsibility as a citizen that is captured somewhere. Of course, not everything is captured, but for the most part, are you a criminal? Or what is on your record as having done? You smoke weed? Have you had problem with the law and stuff like that? So all these things is determine your risk. So are you a low risk person, a high risk person, or somebody that people can trust? So all this information is used to make a decision as to whether if we are giving this amount of money. In fact, when they do all these things, when you go and you want something, then they will tell you if the thing is $20, 20,000, they will tell you you are worth 5,000, or you are worth whatever. So you gotta go look for the rest of the distance to add on to it. And when you are giving a credit card based on your credit, is what is going to determine whether they should give you 1,000, they should give you 500, or stuff like that. So it is a system that has been created in there so that financial institutions and all these people running the economy based on what you need are going to base their decision on. Do we give it to you, or we don't give it to you? If we're giving it to you, this is how much you are worth and stuff like that. Sometimes people are overqualified and all that kind of stuff. So that is what the vice president is talking about. And you and I agree that, if we have the money, then we do things out of pocket. And for the most part, most of the things we do in Ghana, we do out of pocket. These mortgage companies are facing problem because, how do you trust that this person is going to pay? And stuff like that. And when it comes to mortgage, crampo there, that one is even an immovable property. So even if the person doesn't pay, you just go and take it. But what of the movable properties? What if
Mhm.
it's a phone? What if it's a car and stuff like that? So we don't really have
Yeah.
what we
So,
use. What we use currently is the guarantee system. Oh, Charlie, I know this guy, he's going to pay you and stuff like that. Our student loan was using the guarantor system. You don't pay, they go and hack that guy but now with the
mhm,
Ghana card, that one has been taken off and stuff like that. So we need to build these things. It's a great idea. When it's going to come, we don't know, but
mhm.
this is what the government is proposing, that starting next year they're going to do it. And we don't sometimes some of these things we don't need to invent the wheel too much. This is consultation can quickly be done. People have worked in the credit bureaus here and stuff like that in London and all these places, and we can tap into whatever they do, start something, and then based on that we use that
Even
to
we can
boost the
have the
economy.
credit. I think the credit bureaus here, some of them will find it interesting. Will find work to come and do at our place, right? It just because
Yeah,
the
but
same.
we must build our local capacity. We can do it. It shouldn't be always they coming to take over and stuff like that. I hate that kind of stuff.
Here
Are we here?
by yes, we are. So Paul, can you hear me? So
Yeah, I
Paul, you've
can hear
heard that.
you. So you see, I mean, these our brothers in the NPP, they are so interesting, and they always throw construction dust into the eyes of the people of Ghana. When
Okay.
they came to this credit line, look, you see the nice way that Brother Ifa was trying to speak. If you are talking about sloganism, this is what we call sloganism. Why am I saying so? introducing credit line of credit for the good people of Ghana is not a bad idea. But the question is, brother, if I, you yourself, myself, we are all well educated. The question is, are we there? And the answer is no. So Baumia is once again using sloganism, trying to quench some sloganism just to counter the 24-hour sloganism that they think is a sloganism, which in actual fact is an economic policy we are going to implement. Mr. Muzu, before you can go to this line of credit, the first thing you need to do is the unique source of identifier.
Uh-huh.
And according to Baumia, the unique source of identifier is Ghana card. The question we are also to ask ourselves today is, how many Ghanaians have that Ghana card?
16
We,
million.
with 60 million out of 32, almost half of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we've also heard that even some people have used other people's information to obtain Ghana card.
Like they do here.
Before we start with that thing, they need to clean that database to make sure that the source of identifier or the unique identifier is unique. Nobody can be in a system having the same unique identifier with two different Ghana card. Number two, if this thing is done, we need to find a way whereby we need to go to the social security outfit. I can tell you, when I was working in Ghana, my social security number changed almost twice or three times. The question is, what are we going to do? We also have to look at that unique identifier and be able to make sure that we clean that database so that if Brother Efa has a unique Ghana card,
Uh-huh.
that unique Ghana card is linked to a unique social security number, which is linked together vis-a-vis a unique location identifier. What do I mean by unique location identifier? Anyway, I don't have to. I mean, I think I'm giving them more information. They need to come and consult me, and they pay for this consultation. Look, before we can do this thing, we also have to improve upon.
When you apply for the Ghana card, they ask you to provide your digital address, don't you?
People,
So
people, people just give anything at all. People give anything at all.
It's
mm,
fine. It's
People give
fine.
anything at all, and if I knows it, so we have to clean the system. That's why I'm saying that couple it with a unique, proper location identifier database, and let's make sure that if you say you stay in 28 Belvedere Avenue, it is true you stay in 28 Belvedere Avenue. How can we identify that? Yes, you need to bring a letter from the ECG, okay, a letter, something to identify that in truly Brother Efa lives at Osu number 2 Cocoa Beach Road. If Brother Efa will not be able to provide a letter from a government institution or from the banking sector to show that Brother Efa lives in this address, you cannot say that's a unique proper location identifier, which we need to work on.
what if they fake the letter?
That is what
Anyway,
I'm coming to. That's what I'm coming to. That's what I'm coming to. There's a lot of fake in the system. So
Mhm.
therefore, the reason why I'm saying that this has a lot, we've not gotten there yet. It's a good idea, but we are nowhere near there yet. Is that people can even fake these letters. So if you have this all this database linked together
Mhm.
vis-a-vis a national security database, okay, which links with the banking sector. So let's say all the banking sectors in Ghana will be pointing to one database, okay, and we link
Mhm.
all these. You know what is a database? It's just putting the information together, pointing the link them together so that they can talk to each other. Okay,
Right.
if we are able to do this thing, and this thing is talking to each other, and we are not seeing any error or bugs in it, then we can say it has gotten to the time. In addition to, we need to allow us make sure that we let people start filing their taxes, okay, at least for some number of years, for us to have a systematic record to be able to identify that, yeah, Brother Efa works at Osu Cocoa Hill, where they manufacture lies from the office of Baumia. That's where they manufacture their lies from. Then we know that Brother Efa works in that Osu office of Baumia, where lies are manufactured to throw dust into the eyes of the people. He's
Cuckoo,
been there
Cuckoo
for 2
Hill
years.
is Cuckoo Hill is NDC
All
headquarters.
right.
Oh. Not
Okay,
not
so
the
No,
let me
no,
let
let
me
me
put
finish. He's been there
something.
for 2 years. He's been able to file his taxes. His taxes at the end of the year, he did A, B, C, D. He paid his taxes and all those things. We need to get all these things done properly before we can start giving line of credit to the good people of Ghana. Look,
Okay,
Mr. Miko, I'm telling you, if they try to do this thing today, it's going to flop. Why is it
all
going to
right.
flop? I will go to Ghana and I'll say that I live in Osu. Once I live in Kumasi,
Okay, so
I can
Paul.
just
it's fine.
mention any address and give to them. They put in the system. They will never
Yeah.
get me. I'll take
So
the
Paul.
loan. They will look for me. They won't get me.
All right, great passion there. But Paul, you do agree that this is not a bad proposal, right?
I've not said it's a bad proposal, but I'm saying this is sloganism, NPP sloganism. This is what they
So
use. They throw
NPP
dust in the eyes
slogan
of the
versus
people.
NDC slogan. Okay. So let me propose something. Why don't we take these things out of the hands of the governments, right? And put it in the hands of technocrats, right? People who've been in the ministries for years to say, look, we know this government, guys, these politicians have short mentality. They only give us these slogans and they don't end up executing them well. We know how many affordable houses we've we continue to have some drastic housing deficit issues. We've been affordable housing building since time of what do you call it? Ziko Toka and Achampo and all this. We've been building affordable houses for all this time. And sometimes we build them in the bush where nobody lives them, and then the reptiles and animals occupy them. And it's like we just sick people, right? When it comes to how we execute plans that are very well thought out that we think would help us get out of our program, then we just kind of mess it up. So shouldn't it be about time we take this thing out of the hands of the politician and charge technocrats to do these things, and when they fail to do execute their jobs probably is on the line, they might face some disciplinary actions so we can get some results. What do you think about that, Afa? And then we'll come to you, Paul. And so after that, we'll just do our last words and and then close.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree with you. But MPP, we are good executors of policies than the NDC. So let's get that clear and then we
No,
move on.
let me
You
give you
see,
an example. Your president somewhere in, I believe, is it 2019 or so, went to Commander Sugar Factory and made a whole bunch of noise and said it will start soon. It will open soon. Blame Mahama for building a factory without the farm sourcing the products for the farm. And he told us Ghanaians that give him a couple of months, it will open. Has he opened? So, no, you are not better executors. You are the same.
okay. So if you in your school, do you have to score 100% to get an excellent mark?
Well, I do sometimes.
But not in all subjects. So so yeah, let's focus on this credit this thing, and we're going to understand now. Unique identifier. It is even a
Mhm.
shame that we are talking that as a country for over 60 something years we don't have a unique identifier. But the government through the good executors of policies, which is the MPP, through this present government, has
So if
told.
I don't throw that into the eyes of the listeners, the unique identifier Ghana card was started by Kufuor, and Mahama took over. Mess Mahama took over. They built it. It was completed, and we handed over to you. So don't come and create impression
Okay,
that Baumia
so
created it or built it, please.
okay, so it was just an ordinary ID. Okay,
Okay,
it
it
was
was
just
not.
an ordinary ID. Now,
It was not. It was a unique identifier.
So this part of the argument never helps us because all these are incremental efforts. Each
okay,
government contributed something
okay,
That's what I
small.
want him.
but
That's the
okay,
point I want him to
so
make.
so
You should not
okay,
try to give the credit to
it
Baumia.
still
Baumia
doesn't.
never did anything. Baumia did not do
Okay,
anything. He just came to complete what has been already implemented. He just came to implement it. It
But
has
you
not
just
been
said,
built.
you said he
no,
okay.
but there
Listen,
were there were there were there were CI that was sent to
you
Parliament to
said he
change
didn't
some
do
stuff.
anything. You said he didn't do anything, but
He
he
didn't
came
do
to
anything. He
complete.
just came to make sure that it's being implemented. Because Yaya
Okay,
Deku,
that means he
Yaya
did
No,
something.
that's not
Okay,
true. No,
Yaya,
no, no,
okay.
Yaya
no, no,
Deku,
that's not
Yaya
true.
Deku was the IT director by then. He built this thing. Baumia went there and he told Baumia
Why
that this
didn't
is
you
working.
issue the cards, Paul? Why didn't you
Because we
issue
were
the
out
cards?
of government. That is why we
But
couldn't issue the card.
It doesn't have
Paul,
to take you. It doesn't have to take you more than 8 years because, like you said, Kufu has started, and it took you over 8 years. You couldn't issue
because
one card.
because it's gradual process. And I'm saying
Okay,
that
so
before
let's.
on January, one of them, January 2017, His Excellency, the lying, dishonest vice president, went into the National Identification Authority and Yaya Deku. I'm mentioning names over here. It is on TV. Mr. Muzu, go and look for that video clip and play it next week. Yaya Deku told the vice president, who is dishonest and discredible person, that this database, everything is ready to go. All they are waiting for is to start deploying to issue the card. And that's all what Baumia came to do. He came to supervise for the Ghana card to be issued. So they should stop giving credit to Baumia that he is the one who
It's not true.
made
There
this
were
unique identity. It is
all
not
there
true.
were
right,
there were there were CI
guys.
there were CIs there were CIs that were introduced in Parliament for it to get more additions onto it. So that no, that's not true. That we didn't
All
do
right,
anything addition to it. So what I'm
so
saying is that, basically what I'm saying is that all that you are saying, even for all these years that this place has been, if I bring you a letter that I stay at number 144, blah blah blah, what shows that I live there? There are people you
so
just
I
you
guess
can
the
also use
question
somebody.
is,
The most important thing is that if you need an address to say this is where you live, you will
in
be
fact, I
able
think
to put it.
you went back to, I think you're, the question I ask you is, I think it's about time we take this thing away from the government, the politicians, right?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come there. I'm trying to respond to some of his saying that we are not there yet and all that kind of stuff. No, we are there. We are there. We don't need to completely issue everybody with, because there will be, it is like 16 million, half of the population. We can start and then we add on to it. So once the system is built, you get it, you enroll into it. This
So
country, you
what
come
is
in,
holding you
you
back
get your
now? Why are you
DD, you
doing it
enroll
now?
into it.
Do we need Baumia
So
to be president to get this thing done? Is Akufo-Addo against this?
can I? What are you? What are we? You lost
What
me.
do we do now? Is Akufo-Addo against it? He has one more year. Roll out the credits. You should have rolled this thing out like 3 years ago. What are we waiting on? We have 16 million people on a car.
Okay, it should have been rolled on 3 years ago based on what?
Well, when you came, you issued Ghana card, right?
Right.
When did you start issuing them?
Oh, I have to check the dates, but as soon
Okay,
as
so
I
let's say you
got
started
everything
issuing them
in
in
place.
2019, right? Because at some point they were demanding that it has to be, you have to
Yeah,
have it in
we
order.
had to. There was a parliamentary something. We cleared it, and then we got a, and then once it was out of the way, then they started issuing it.
So was that a number you were waiting for in order to roll out the credit system? Because as you started rolling out the Ghana card, if it is supposed to be, if a byproduct of that was going to be, a line of credit to individuals based on a Ghana card, why didn't you? What are you waiting on? What took you so long? Just roll it out then. So if you have Ghana, it would even be an incentive for people
So
to get the Ghana.
your problem is how long? I mean, that is
No,
that.
my problem
So
is this
so when it
slow
comes to
governance, the slow
government
part.
policy,
It's the
right?
fact that
When it comes to
government
government
plays like pawns.
when it comes to government policy, we
Mhm.
you see, you do it when you are ready, when you have all that it takes. Even as we are speaking right now, somebody is saying wait, and you are saying why was it not done earlier? So it is it is on an issue of what
No, I mean, so the thing is
when
going
you
to
think it's
benefit.
ready. When you are ready, you go. So
The thing is going
government
to benefit.
policy is not based on somebody pushing you go do this or go do that. It is Are you ready to go? Yeah. If you think that you have all that it takes for you to go, at one point in time we didn't have free SHS. So somebody came and he said it's about time we make sure all our kids are in school. Exams cannot prevent you from going. This cannot prevent you from going. So let everybody get in there. We don't have the infrastructure. What are the innovative way we can make for us to go? So let's get it. Let's get people in. Is it the best? No. but we fix it and then we take along and stuff like that. Somebody said wait 20 years. Somebody said we should have started a long time ago. So
I don't
that
think
is
anybody's saying
debatable.
wait 20 years. I mean,
Oh,
nobody's really.
NDC said we are not ready. We should have waited 20 more years before we roll it
Okay,
out.
so here is Dr. Bright Tosi saying, I think MPP is trying to prey on Ghanaians with this promise of credit reporting system. There is a lot that needs to be done before that takes effect. Let's not rush it. Ghana is not ready for this. Okay, so that's one of your not ready people.
Yeah. And somebody to think that we should have wrote it 3 years ago. So
I think
the debate
I
continues.
think
So
I think this should have been already, because we already have the collateral registry system, right?
yes.
People were taking loan in Ghana. Mostly, you have to have a job or something, and da 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 da. People take a
The
lot.
collateral system is still there. They're still there to
Yeah, so
today.
so you came and met those things. It's not like you came and built them, right? So they were
Right.
already the signs, right? It took you 8 years to kind of figure out that, oh, by the way, we need to do credit system. So that's what I mean by, let's give these things to technocrats. We don't need to wait on the politicians, because you guys use it for campaign. If it wasn't campaign, we wouldn't even have these things popping out. Like, people are just not thinking about, oh, we need a 24-hour economy. No, this should have been. Mahama was, when Mahama was there, we need a 24-hour economy then what happened? Why didn't he do it? What was the headback? Of course, he has
Because when
electricity.
he was president, he said he couldn't create jobs. So that's why he couldn't
Well,
create.
he has to
Now
deal with
that
he has
in
to deal with the
opposition, he said he
perennial,
can create jobs. Maybe that's why we don't know.
but he has to deal with the persistent electrical issues that we had, right? Because
What
that
has
is
that
a
got to do with job
component.
creation?
Well, if the factories are open and there's no electricity to manufacture anything, who would
That's
employ?
why Commander Sudan factory couldn't operate. Oh, okay. I got you.
Well,
Okay, I
after
got
even
you.
he delivered the electricity, it appears that growing sugarcane is something the NPP couldn't succeed in doing for 8 years. Just growing the sugarcane, not
And
electricity.
because he collapsed people's businesses for 4 years. So the economy was on its
I mean, I'm talking
knees.
about low
So
hanging fruit here. Low hanging
we
fruit.
needed to do a lot of stuff. And you
In
see,
order to produce, in
sugarcane,
order to do sugarcane, you have to do.
he was advised not to do it for strategic reasons. He was advised not to do it, but for the
Not to
sake
do
of
what?
the money, so they can do the chop chop.
I mean, Commander was built by originally by Kwame Nkrumah. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Is it a bad idea for us to have a sugar factory in Ghana? No, it's not.
Is any businessman in the NDC ready to take over? Because we need an investor to take over. Maybe Ibrahim can take
Well,
over it. Yeah.
when we were doing it, of course, when NDC was doing it, I don't think the goal was to have private entity takeover. But anyway,
Yeah.
you
Government has
promised.
not been good managers of stuff like that. And our policy was that, such stuff ought to be private sector. So
Which I agree with.
government can assist in some stuff, but it's
But
best. I mean
certain things.
even the credit thing we're talking about right now, you're talking about we should take it off the government and give it to technocrats and stuff
No,
like that.
I'm
And I
not saying.
completely agree with you.
I'm not saying take it out of government. I'm saying take it away from the politicians, not government. Take it away from the
Oh,
politicians. Give it,
what is the difference?
give it to the technocrats. The technocrats, the people who have been in the ministries for 20 years, the
But
directors.
they write the policies. They are the ones writing these policies.
But you see,
If it is a government, if government is
when
leading it,
Omia comes and says, "Oh, the priority right now is going to be line of credit, and I'm going to wait because I have to use that for campaign," they kind of just delay our progress, right?
no.
So we can,
That is your statement. He didn't say he's going to use it for campaign. That's why I'm bringing it now. It is something that
of
is
course,
needed. He's seen that it's
it's
needed.
obvious. If it is needed, he didn't
It's a
need to
need.
wait till this time. I'm saying that's why I'm saying that was my whole comment about he could have done this years ago, right? So
It's the
I
same
mean, not
thing.
to.
It's the same thing with a 24-hour economy. Mahama could have done it when he was president, right? Why
I
didn't he do it?
agree. I agree. I agree. That's
Yeah,
why I say
but
yes.
I disagree with. It should have been done. Okay, it wasn't done. So if it is
So
now, why are we
uh,
saying we should go? I mean, we can't go back. We can't wind back
let's not
time.
lose track of
So we
how
go
we got
forward,
into.
right?
Okay, let's not lose track of how we got into. It should have been done.
Yeah.
Um,
It
the
wasn't
reason we are
done.
saying, the reason we are saying that, sorry, I think my sound went. The reason we are saying that is that's right. Um, we want it to go to the technocrats because if it went to the technocrats, the issue of both Mahama not doing it until he's now find a need to use it for campaign, so he's not pushing it, wouldn't be a problem. We had the like we said, we know there was the Africa Continental Agreements coming. We know Africa is gonna definitely want to do something about trading among themselves, and there are places that certain things are highly produced, and those places will need to crank up those productions so they can serve the rest of Africa. We know there are so many opportunities to do that, those type of things, right? So why wait now? That's why I'm saying give it to the technocrats. Let's hold them accountable. Let's go to the Ministry of Trade and say, Director, your responsibility is to ensure that you know certain industries are running 24/7. We would tie that to your performance, like Paul was saying the last time. We'll tie that to your performance, and in a year we'll evaluate you based on that. So people's jobs, people have the need and they're supplying the ability to go and execute because it kind of helps them get promoted and etc. Guys, I think we've done justice to the discussions. Paul, do you agree? If you agree, give us your last words.
Yes, so well, thank you for having me today, and Merry Christmas to Brother Ifa and his incompetent NPP government. They've brought suffering to the good people of Ghana. This Christmas, people cannot even buy chicken. Akoko nine, they cannot even buy it to eat or to chew. And Brother Ifa and his government are luxury chewing the leg of the cow.
I disagree. If you go to Ghana, you see the fufu bowl, the people are
Oh
chopping.
my
If you see
goodness. Good
Mr.
gracious.
Amuzu, Mr.
I
Amuzu,
disagree.
Brother
I
Ifa
disagree.
and his government, Baumia and Nanado and the Ifa and his people are chewing cow leg, whilst the ordinary Ghanaians are chewing the leg of a fowl. Akoko nine, that's what they are chewing, and it's so
I
sad.
don't know.
That
Maybe true. I don't know because of the sweetness. Is it because we don't
no,
have
no, it's
any?
because they don't have money to buy the cow legs like the MPP, Baumia and Co are buying, and this has made Ghanaians putting them into being more poor than they used to be. And we
Right.
pray that the Almighty God, that we are going to celebrate His birth this coming Sunday, we pray that God Himself, no Monday, we pray that God Himself will shower His blessings upon the good people of Ghana and give them the hope that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will take power in the next election and will bring back hope to the good people of Ghana. Baumia has failed, Nanado has failed, Bra Ifa has failed, Ghana is suffering, teachers are suffering, Ifa is suffering, Amusu is suffering, Podisoso is suffering. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna blame Amuzu and Paul Soso suffering on Joe Biden at this point. Anyway, Afa, take us home.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to us all and stuff like that. It is
Yeah.
heartwarming to say that even the IMF has confirmed that no, just as we predicted as a government, that the economy is bouncing back, inflation is going low, market women are praising whatever the government did that is bringing prices of goods, and because of this, there's a lot of purchases that are going on in terms of this Christmas, and people are really really enjoying. You just go to YouTube and Google Christmas and Google Makola and all those places. Anywhere you will see how people are shopping and they are really enjoying ourselves.
People
You
are
see,
chewing
if
akoko nine,
if
that's what they are
if
chewing.
Ghanaians are, it is normal. You see, it is Christmas and they want a little bit from you, so they will tell you a muayedin. Me when they come in, they say muayedin. Me I don't mind them. I tell them, hey, ubwa, ubwa, he is there. Go and take chicken here. Go and take this thing over there, and then go and you are not getting anything from Ghana because the money is there. Go and use it. So it is, we still face challenges and we're going to overcome all those challenges. What we need to know is that this government thinks so much about the good people of Ghana. That is why we are putting things in place, thinking outside the box to make sure we rope in all that it takes for the good people of Ghana to enjoy the benefit of being under an MPP government. Come 2024, it is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. This is the man, the digital man who can take us to the next level. If Baumia hadn't come, there's a lot of things that we wouldn't have seen being implemented as a government. So trust the NPP to deliver, trust the NPP to do the job, try the
You
NPP to
know,
fight for you. So vote for NPP and you will see good policies. Policies that are nationalistic in nature and not the one that is done in Accra or in a particular village and it is projected as if the whole Ghanaian are enjoying it. Look at the way free SHS is helping around. Look at the way ambulances are delivering on the service. Look at the way we are delivering on Agenda 111. It is MPP all the way. And Ghanaians, we thank you. Continue to trust us and we will take you to the promised land. Thank you very much, Mr. Amuzu.
the fact that the NPP can keep a straight face and say that people are actually enjoying when pensioners lost their savings, lifetime savings, through this bond
No,
restructuring,
nobody has lost
it's
a savings
really
in criminal
mind-boggling.
exercise. Nobody lost a
Like,
savings.
if you really care
Nobody.
about your citizens, you will not take their life
Nobody lost
savings
money.
in a
Nobody.
restructure.
Not a single person lost money, Amuzu. Nobody lost money.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Nobody lost money. Yeah, nobody.
In
Hold it.
the DDP program, you did
Nobody.
not.
It was
You did not.
postponed. It was postponed.
I
It was
mean,
postponed. Postponement is
people
not.
who
If you have been postponed, it's not losing it. No.
no, you
because
refuse, you
because
refuse.
none of his family people's money has been taken away from them.
You
So
know
you
how
sit
many of
here
my family
and say that
members are in there?
there's nothing,
But it's a government policy.
nobody have lost
At
So,
a
money.
so
point in time, government has to make a decision.
how do you keep a straight face when you tell the Ghanaian that, oh, this government is the government that cares about the people? It's therefore they are putting things in place like DDP to rob them of their money, and so they
Amuzu.
enjoy. I mean, it's so if the arrogance of your government, right, cause your government to even refuse when the Minister of Finance is telling his own people that, listen, the whole free SHS thing, I can pay. A whole bunch of Ghanaians can pay. It makes no sense for us to sell our his and other people's keys to school for free.
Government
And
is not
you still did not listen because
government is not run on the idea of one person, but
no, I'm
at a
saying
meeting,
this is not an idea of
of
one person. This
ideas
is
after
a
it has
cabinet
been
member.
debated. So if cabinet and the decision is that free SHS is free, you can make your comments all right. Now, at a point in time, Mahama could pay, but at that time his father was rich, but he went to the northern region to go for it for free. You know, if any country, the rich people get more free stuff than even the poor. So what are we talking about here? Okay,
No,
that is the policy.
I'm saying
People
you
can
could
make
have
their
created,
comments on it, but that is the policy.
listen, okay, we know what you've done. What you've done is you insisted on keeping a program that you would die with, even if you have to. So I'm saying that even your Minister of Finance, the manager of the economy, right, the guy who draws the budget, everything, can read it to us. He has those sentiments, which I'm sure he expressed it in cabinet, and he was perhaps overruled. But then he came and still say these things. I'm saying that a listening government who cares about, because you made the comment that this is a listening government, a government that cares about the people, a government that cares about its people, will carve out some exceptions, right? Exceptions to those who can pay and lower the pressure so that you don't go and take money from pensioners, or you call it postponing their benefits. You don't do that. All that they've worked their whole life in and put into bonds so they can get the distribution from the bonds to support their medical needs, you telling them you're postponing it because you want to pay for SHS, who your Minister of Finance is telling you that, look, there are people in Ghana who can pay for this thing. Don't at least create that exception. If you do, your narrative that you care about the people will be something I support. But as it is right now, that narrative is completely bogus. You guys don't care about shit. All you care about is, let me not say.
Oh, you are allowing yourself to use any language here because you are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I use shit, but I think all you care about is winning.
I'm really disappointed in you for using such a
all right, guys, this is good.
We did not end the Christmas really well. But hey,
happy Christmas. Merry
Christmas. Policy can be proposed, but when you come to the table and you are not able to defend it, it will be pushed to the background. And it happens everywhere. So, I mean, people can say whatever. Me, I believe it ought to be free. If you are a rich person and you think rich people are crying about taxes, okay, use free free SH money to reduce the taxes and stuff like that. What are we talking about here? At one point in time, say government is taking too much. When government is giving to you, say, oh, I could have paid, so you should have. See, it's a contradiction, and that cannot be used to rule the country.
All right, you don't take pensioners' money, man. When you do that, you don't care. From
We
where I
have not
stand,
taken pensioners' money. We've just divided
whatever
it
you did
over
to it,
over years.
whatever you did to it,
Nobody's money
whatever
has
you
been
did to it.
taken. Nobody has lost money in the country.
Maybe we need to go look at the DDP again because
Adios. Nobody has lost money. Nobody.
coupon payments. You postpone coupon payments. You reduce the percentage of
Postponement is
people
not
that
government
they pay.
taking it.
Over what?
Why should say
15
postponement means
years.
government has
So
taken the money?
somebody who retired, so I'm retired, right? And let's say I'm 70 years, right? And you are postponing my coupon payment for the next, what, 15 years? I'll die before that time comes.
Go to America here and go and check
I'll die before that time comes.
Go and check the veterans and pensioners who are accessing Social Security and check when they are supposed to get certain things. Go and check here in America. What are you talking about?
I'm a veteran, so be careful when you say that.
When you go and there's a line of, you gotta wait. You see, the doctor
has no line. There's no line anywhere for veterans benefits. There's no line anywhere. There's no line anywhere for veteran benefits that I am aware of.
Oh, other stuff. It could be health. It could be anything.
You don't know. You're just making this up. So you don't know for a fact. You're making it up, right? Because you don't know for a fact. You being a veteran, I could tell you the benefits I got from being a veteran. And the way that happens, for instance, when I go to school during my GIB period, they actually pay my accommodation. They pay the tuition, pay my accommodation. I can go to any veteran.
There's a lot of veterans accessing healthcare. There's a lot of veterans accessing healthcare, and they have to be put on whatever hold on whatever.
It used to be that you have to go to veterans.
They have been fighting these things. It's been in the news and all that kind of stuff. For purposes of argument, you are now.
No, I can explain it to you.
They have to. You are going to explain it, but you don't want to accept it. They will fix it.
No, I'm saying.
So what us will fix ours.
No, I'm saying there's probably some misunderstanding on your part, right? And here's why. You see, it used to be that if you are a veteran and you want medical care through the VA system, you have to go to a VA hospital, and VA hospitals are not everywhere, right? So it's like if you're not close to one of those VA hospitals, you're out of luck. But Trump has changed that. When Trump came into office, he opened it up. A veteran who cannot access a VA hospital can go to any hospital, and the VA will pay for it. So that is your explanation. There's nowhere in America, if somebody claims they are veteran and they're struggling,
it's been fixed.
You don't know the circumstances of their.
There was a problem, and it's been fixed, right? So it's the same way with our finances. We had a problem because the IMF wanted us to do this, and we've done it, and now they're praising us. The economy is coming back. So what are you talking about? Some people
on the back of dying pensioners.
Oh,
anyway,
people
Merry
go to
Christmas.
war and die to save a nation. What are you talking about?
This time around, there's no war. You are killing your pensioners to save your economy.
No, nobody is killing anybody. Nobody is killing anybody. We have to make a decision. And this is the best. Somebody should have given us an alternative. Nobody. All you say, pay, and the money is not there.
You don't listen. You don't listen to anybody. Your Minister of Finance told you that, listen, the free HS policy, as good as it is, there are a whole bunch of people in Ghana who can pay at least for their kids. So you could have considered that and created that exemption for that policy. But you didn't listen. This is not an outsider.
They created a fund for the free SHS. Who has contributed into that fund? Who? The people that are saying they could pay, have they contributed into that fund?
They did what?
They created a fund. He created a fund for people who can pay to support the free SHS. How much has been collected in there?
All right. Merry Christmas.
We can talk, man. When it suits us, we talk.
No. I mean, we can be here. For me, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Anyway,
but I don't want to.
I have to call you after this program for another thing. I mean, we can argue.
Okay.
You're going to stand there. I'm going to stand there because I will not let you bash my government. We have to make it. Sometimes it's a tough decision to make. Okay?
Yeah, I know. I mean,
people are going to be affected.
Yeah, I mean, these are all decisions that have consequences, right?
And I hope we learn as a country so that we don't get ourselves back into it. But we
I'm just saying. I cannot see you then come about and tell me that this is a compassionate government that cares about the people. I disagree
Oh
with that.
yeah,
I
we
don't
care,
think they
Papa.
necessarily do.
Agenda
Are you
1-1 means
the
we care.
people?
The drones means we care.
I mean,
Free
the
SHS
one
means
was
we care. The
anyway.
ambulances means we care. The factories means we care. You know, the
You can't
various
build
expansions.
hospital.
What
You
the
can't to
government
build
is doing means
hospital.
we care.
But listen to yourself, right? You care to build hospital to save lives, but you don't care about the people who are most vulnerable to dying, which are the pensioners. You postpone their coupons. I mean, that right there is a capital, it's a cardinal sin. I don't think you show any compassion in that decision.
Oh, it
If
was a great.
anything, you
No,
had pensioners lining up in front of. Anyway,
no, they were
if
no,
I,
they were protesting about the policy, and the policy was great. We had
they
run
just
out
said
of options.
they want to be exempted.
If anybody had options for us, which could have saved the situation, people were just we had to make a decision. So bring in an
The
alternative.
the
And the
option
fair,
was for you to create an exemption for the free SHS to get people to pay. That way, at least you have
that
some
was
small
somebody's
savings from
no,
there.
that wasn't
Because
taken at cabinet. The
we are using
majority of Ghanaians did not think that is what we should do.
the distribution we get from our oil resources to back the budget to pay for free SHS. You could have
I
diverted that
thought,
into
man, it's a
the
great
EPP.
idea. We should continue to fund it. Fund
I
free
mean,
education. Let
that has
everybody
been the
go to
mandate,
school.
right?
Let everybody be educated. The rich people that are saying they can pay, use that to open up businesses. Use that to
Well,
as your
I'm
tax transfer.
saying, I mean,
Contribute into the fund for free SHS. They won't contribute. It is political talk. It is not something that is real.
we get
They
the
can pay.
annual
They can
budgets,
pay.
we get the
They can
ABFA
pay. They can
from
pay. Every country, the
petroleum
rich, they take a
resources.
lot from the nation, Papa. Every country. These rich people, we can pay. We can pay. How many
So I'm
taxes
saying
do they
that
pay? They go and they want tax exemptions and all that, and then they say they can pay. Then
no, you are asking for options, right? So I'm telling you that the annual budget support that we take from the petroleum royalties that we get, right?
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That money, every government has the latitude to use it to support their agenda however they choose. The
Right.
ABFA application. So you guys decided, okay, your program is the free SHS. If you needed money, right? When you needed money during COVID, remember, you went into the Petroleum Holding Fund and took the Heritage Fund. Matter of fact, you took money from the Heritage Fund. So some of these things could have been averted. If your pensioners should be. I mean, these are human beings. Your president said he can save the economy. He can bring the economy back, but he can bring people back. But when it came to the
Right.
pensioners, was he caring about their life? Because when you tell a pensioner that, listen, your coupon distributions that you rely on for your medical supports and all that is now being postponed, it doesn't sound like you care about their lives. You are not trying to secure their life as you were telling us during COVID. That's dishonest. That is not somebody or people who I believe were very
No, that
compassionate.
we had to show leadership at that point, and what we did was leadership. That's why the
No,
economy is bouncing back.
against the most vulnerable, a person who would actually take a
No,
decision
no.
that
You're using it. You're
the
using
most
it for purposes
vulnerable.
of academics, argument, and politics.
No, this is not
It is
academic
not
argument.
something that
Talking
is
about the
real.
grandmas and the granny, these people who are almost close to their graves, right?
It wasn't.
I
It
think these
wasn't
are more
everything.
protection that,
It
if
wasn't
anything,
everything. It was the money was in portions. It wasn't like all of it was going to be pushed into far away. It was in portions.
it's a
So
bad
that's
decision.
saying
It's a
no,
bad decision.
no, it
All
wasn't.
right.
It wasn't. That's why the economy is bouncing back. Maybe if you had listened to
On
you,
the back
you were
of the
saying
dead,
it. You were saying it so that the economy will go down the drain. But we had to make a
yeah.
decision that will bring the
So
economy
again,
back.
I'm saying that's not the only solution, right? The only solution to bringing the economy back is not robbing retirees of their money. We could have
Nobody
done it
robbed
other
anybody.
ways.
Don't be using words that did not happen. Nobody robbed anybody.
Well, what you did to the retirees
It
amount
is
to
not
robbing. When the
robbing.
government
It
comes and
is
say,
not
"Oh, by the
robbing.
way, instead of your 10% coupon distributions, we're not going to do that. We'll actually give you 5%, but you are not even going to get that now. Wait for 15 years. Are you serious? That's robbing." Anyway,
It's not.
We agree to disagree. But Merry Christmas. Thanks for coming and gracing the show
When are we
all
coming
these
back, though?
years.
Okay, we'll discuss that later when we're coming back.
What do you mean? Coming back, coming back.
When are we? When next? Are we coming back next week? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week. I'm trying to do a couple of them before I leave. Today for so the 30th. We can do 30th if you guys are
Are you
available.
going to Ghana?
No, I'm not going to Ghana.
Okay.
So basically, what I was going to do is once school begins, I want to make sure RSM can host. But today he was sick. Today he was going to be the one to host. I was just going to play along as he hosts, just to kind of test him out. But hopefully we can do that next week. So we'll stand to see. I mean, yeah, we'll see how that goes, right? That way, even if I'm out of pocket, at least he can continue to do the program.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Big Boss. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, guys, that is the show for the day. Again, this is the Ghana Agenda. We are on every Saturday. My name is Alfredo Muzu. Sooner or later, we'll have another host in RSM. Mr. Wisdom Akapo will be doing this. Please, if you haven't already done so, like, subscribe, so that anytime we come, you can get a notification. We discuss some really interesting things. I believe you agree. Enjoy your Christmas with family, and we will return next week and hopefully canvas some very interesting topics for you. Again, Alfredo Muzu, Ghana Agenda. See you next week.